beautiful individualized expression of the one. Say that with me. I am a beautiful individualized expression of the one. Who and how I am, is perfect.
It's perfect.
Right here, right now. And especially when you don't feel perfect, you don't have to say that, but that's true too. You don't have to do anything, right? You don't have to do anything, but you did. You got out of your bed on a Sunday morning, you put on your clothes, you drove across town, and in some cases for over an hour to get here. Thank you. Or you rolled out of bed, or maybe Jill and Kathy are still sitting in bed. They watch online from bed, usually with coffee, and say, yay, church. Before, wherever you are. If you're our online community or our in-person community, you're our community, and you're welcome here, and we're glad that you're here. Oh, boy. As most of you know, I just returned from attending the Parliament of World Religions in Toronto. Absolutely can't find words yet to encapsulate this experience, but I found a lot of words that I will share. And I'm looking forward to that. But it was an amazing experience. I'm so grateful that I had an opportunity. So I wanted to talk about part of the mission or the vision of this particular parliament was the promise of inclusion, the power of love to change the world. The promise of inclusion, and I thought, okay, that's a great promise, that inclusion. Let's practice the promise. So practicing the promise really has to be twofold. It's not just practicing the promise to accept our Jewish and Muslim and Baha'i and Buddhist and Baptist and Presbyterian, whoever, brothers and sisters in interfaith. It's also people who don't believe in God, people who don't have even that common dialogue. And it's the promise of inclusion here. Inclusion, all the parts of us. We can't love the world and be inclusive with others until we can include all of our pieces, right? You hear me say it all the time, that I love my pieces so I can love all of yours. We need to love all our pieces. So being inclusive with ourselves, I noticed some things about myself this week. I noticed that to practice the promise of inclusion with all of my parts and with everyone else's, sometimes I have to get out of my own way and out of my comfort zone. I was out of my comfort zone, believe it or not, even though I love people and I get charged up by being around people. To go to a conference with between 7,000 and 8,000 people and to know 3 that will be there, for me was a little overwhelming. It was like, wow, I don't know the drill. I've been to tons of spiritual conferences over the last 17 years, 18 years, I don't know. But to not know the drill, like I don't know where the main hall is. Is there a main hall? I don't know where we eat. Do we eat together? I don't know. Are my meals covered? Are they not? They asked me if I was vegan. I don't know if that was just a survey. If they're going to feed me, I don't know. and then what about like the other stuff? Like what about the program? I mean, where do I get my program? Do I get that at registration? And do they have a quick view? I hope they have a quick view. I'd like to just take an overview so I can make my plan, have my strategy. I like a plan, girl. People. I like a plan. So I had these thoughts, and I'm outside my comfort zone, but I was pulled to be there, and so I went. Turns out I knew about 300 people. There were 350 people representing the New Thought movement, and this center is part of the New Thought movement, unity, science of mind, divine science, those kinds of centers. And so I knew probably at least a couple of hundred people there, and that was great. So that was just the comfort zone of not knowing, right? Let's skip to the end for just a second, and then I'll go back to the parliament. Another piece of getting out of my own way, out of my comfort zone, was I purposely picked my accommodations 4 minutes from Union Station because I thought, I'm in a big city. I'm going to take the train. Y'all, I've taken like 3 trains in my life. I don't really know anything about mass transit. It's a good thing to learn. We need to start doing that, especially when it's somewhere like Toronto where it's easy to do. And I thought, I'm 4 minutes away, I'm not going to call a taxi, I'm not going to call an Uber. Then I thought, I'm calling an Uber. And then, because it's familiar, right? I know how to do that. I walk outside my door and I get in. They take me, that's it. And then my friends were like, Union Station's right there, you just take the up train. That's all. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. So I get my little things and I go rolling over to 4 minutes away and I find Union Station, can't really miss it, it's kind of big. And then I realized there's thousands of people in this train station. Thousands of people, and they're all just going their own way. No one's looking each other in the eye. No one's talking. No one's really offering help. And I'm like, skip, Until this one lady, she was awake, aware, and caring. That's what it takes to be inclusive, to be awake, aware, and caring. Awake to see and aware enough to know that there's a need here. And caring enough to go, oh, bless her heart. She's not from the South. I know she was thinking, bless her heart. That girl's lost. She's like, do you need help? I'm like, oh, yes, I need help. I just need to get to the, and I was getting a little nervous, because it's an international flight, and I had to get to the airport. And she said, you just take the up train. I'm like, I know. Which platform? There's like 18 of them. Which one do I go to? Stairs and escalators. So she took me to the up train. I got my ticket. She helped me with that. I get on the up train. I'm halfway to the airport, wondering and worrying the whole time, am I on the right train? Even though she's helped me, because I was outside of my comfort zone, I didn't even notice that every sign I'd seen along the way said up train, and it said up train because a big U, Union Station 2, Pearson, Toronto International Airport. I was obviously on the right train because it was the only place it went, was the up train means Union Station 2, Pearson, Toronto Airport. But I didn't see that, right? How many times in our lives do we not see the things waiting to help us because it's outside of our comfort zone? It's different than what we know. And that's the same with meeting people that are different from what we know. And what do we do with that? Well, we'll talk more about that in a second. Back to my quick view of the schedule, right? I got my check-in, I got my little badge, Reverend Christy is here. I'd like to pick up my program. And they go, oh, you go to that desk for that, a whole different desk. I'm thinking, why couldn't you just give me my little piece of paper here? This is the program. So I flipped over to my first day. 47 pages. 47 pages. 47 pages. There is no quick view. 47. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. There's no quick view. 47 pages. How am I supposed to have my normal mode of operandi when there's no quick view and I can't make a plan? It would take me all day just to look through those 47 pages. So what did I do? Again, out of my comfort zone. And I checked into my heart. And I said, where am I supposed to be? And I kept doing that. And my mantra became, I'm open. I connect. I love. I inspire. And I shift. Those words became my walking mantra and led me where I needed to be. I made the decision in every moment that I was there to be open, to connect with people, even if I was getting a coffee, to love them with my heart through my eyes and my energy, to be inspiring or be inspired if it was my turn to receive that, and then to be ready to take an action if there was an action needed. And I thought, wow, this is a great way to live my life. I should do that outside. Yeah, we'll get to that. I should do that outside of there. So, because of that, because I didn't try to go with my normal, I followed my heart, and I ended up at the wrong place every time, what I thought was the wrong place. And those beautiful, blessed, beloved wrong places had me and Michael Beckwith standing alone talking. Do you know how often that happens, that Michael Beckwith is alone talking to anyone? I didn't see it happen the rest of the time. Because I turned the corner in the wrong direction at the right time, and it wasn't the wrong direction. So that was amazing. That program he was in was more about that in a moment, was fantastic. And then I go to leave, and I'm thinking, man, I'm really bummed that I missed Arun Gandhi. I mean, he's Gandhi's grandson, for crying out loud. I really would have liked to have met the guy. He's here. I really would have liked to have shook his hand and said, it's great to meet you, and a picture, and listen to some words of wisdom, anything, but I missed it. So I'm trying to leave this place where I just heard this amazing panel by some other people, and I looked at the schedule. By this time, I found there's an app for that. Thank God. So I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm thinking I could run. Now this is in the convention center in Toronto is huge. It takes you 10 minutes to walk from the south end to the north end. So and it's all over the whole entire place. And so I'm thinking, okay, I could sprint to that place because I really like that Rabbi Rosen. I really liked him, and I could go hear him again. And I'm again trying to be here, and I dropped into here. And I thought, I'm feeling led to go back in the same room I just came out of. All right, so I'll do that. I said yes, even when it didn't make sense. And I'm standing there, and I don't know why I'm there. I'm like, maybe I'm supposed to talk to Michael Beckwith again. I'm looking over, and there's 50 people around me, or not. Your grandfather has made a tremendous impact. I walked back into the room where Arun Gandhi was speaking, and I didn't even realize that I hadn't missed it. The wisdom I learned from my grandfather. I mean, y'all, this is the kind of thing. Now, how does that apply to all of us? Yes, I can tell stories. They're fabulous. He has some great ones. I'm sure this will continue to be fodder for talks and songs and who knows what, and probably definitely coffee chat. But I'm bringing all this up because I want to tell you now some things that really helped me when it came to including others, being inclusive to others. First of all, though, that following our intuition and not beating ourselves up when we think we've missed it, we've made the wrong choice, we've done a bad thing, we've really messed up. People are surely judging me now and thinking I'm a terrible person, right? Not that they were thinking that, but I've done other things and experienced other things, right? And I know you have. And we take those big things or those little things, like I missed that opportunity. No, you can't miss your good. Your divine ship will not sail by you. You are one with an inexhaustible source and supply of good. You're one with it. You can't lose it. All right, so being able to tap in and tune in and honor your own pace. That's being inclusive with yourself. Being open, connected, loving, inspiring. So practicing the promise of inclusion with others. This one panel that was one of my favorites was the Global Justice Through Racial and Religious Renaissance. Let me tell you who was on that panel. It was a panel full of Pentecostal bishops and New Thought ministers. It was Michael Beckwith from Agape, Dr. Ken Gordon, who was on the cover of Science magazine last month, Aaron McCabe, who is the Unity Minister at Unity Village Chapel, Bishop Joseph Tolton from South Africa. He actually tours all over the world, helping the LGBT and human rights, Pentecostal preacher, helping with those issues, and Bishop Yvette Flunder, amazing powerhouse woman who is affiliated with, and maybe even the founder, I think, of the Fellowship of Affirming Ministries. They have decided to come together. The Fellowship of Affirming Ministries, these Pentecostal memberships, coming together with New Thought centers. She told me, well, we're family now. And then we had a guest who showed up to give the evening closing prayer for that panel, and that was Bishop Carlton Pearson, who's on the cover of this month's magazine, by the way. And he said, yeah, I decided to call myself a Metacostal. And so here's some of the things that they had to say. And when talking about having a racial and religious renaissance, Dr. Ken Gordon said, I've decided I'm just going to love people till they listen. I'm just going to love people till they listen. And Bishop Yvette Flunder, oh man, she's something else. She said, I'm going to press in. I'm going to press into you till you realize there's no other. I'm going to press into you. And she says, I do a lot of hugging. And so I'm pressing, literally pressing into you because I want you to know that there's no separation between us. I'm going to press in until the otherness goes away. Which, by the way, her wife's name is Shirley Miller. And I had that was my rock star moment, just for the record. Look her up. That was my rock star. That was the only time I felt like truly like Shirley Miller, like as in, oh, happy day. Yeah, Google that. Anyway, so she was, okay, I get sidetracked on Shirley Miller. Woo, that's awesome. They all are. But pressing in until the otherness goes away, right? Pressing in until the otherness goes away. So Arun Gandhi also talked about letting go of the word tolerance. What is that? I'm going to put up with you? I don't love you, but I'll put up with you. No, we're not here to build a tolerance. We're here to embrace one another. To embrace one another. First we embrace all of ourselves, and then embracing one another. We don't sometimes because we don't feel safe. We feel like somehow it's going to be detrimental to who we are, to our faith. Dangerous even, if we let others in that are different. Because we're afraid. All going back to that belief that we're separate from our source, and we're not. So back to Arun Gandhi, he said, he was talking to some people that were so excited he was there, and they said, he basically was having a conversation like, what are you doing to, create a positive world or something, I don't know. And they said, we're waiting for a Gandhi. And I know he must have just been shaking his head thinking, did you miss my grandfather's message of be the change? And he said, you You are that. You have to look for, if you want a vibrant life, you have to look for the weaknesses within and transform that in yourself. Be that you're seeking. Be that. On the way into church this morning, I was listening to Karen Drucker's song, We're the Ones That We've Been Waiting For. We're the ones who will make a difference, who are making a difference. Be that. But how do we be that? Yesterday in Living in Solution Plus class, the Living in Solution class, they looked at me at the end of our year together and said, nope, we're not done. I'm sorry, what? Nope, we don't want to be finished. I'm like, well, I don't either, honey. I love y'all, but it's over. Next month's our last class, and they're like, we're not leaving. We're just going to have to create another one. So we've started Living in Solution Plus, another year together, and I'm thrilled. So yesterday, we spent a lot of time talking about how our best spiritual practice in the morning isn't anything if we're not practicing that practice during the day. If we have the most amazing, I saw all of the Divine Mother, I saw Jesus, I saw Buddha, I was out in the ethers, I was in the cosmos, I had this meditation that was, I think I levitated. You know, if we have all that and then we go outside and we are we're mad at somebody on the road, or we show up and we're irritated with people, it's not really the point. It's practicing our practice every day. So I got to the airport. And I did what you do in the airport. You look for your terminal, you get your Starbucks, you get your food, you're busy. You're busy. And all of a sudden, I lost it, I forgot my mantra. What was it? I'm open, I connect, I'm expecting this. I'm living in the expectancy of this. Okay, I'm open, I connect, I'm here to love. To inspire and be inspired, and I'm back in that zone. And I started letting it be my mantra, and I'm looking people in the eye, or trying to, and I just, and I'm like, I'm open. Got nothing, I'm here to love. I'm like, weirdo. I'm like, okay, it's okay. I'm just gonna, it's gonna come to me, I'm just gonna be that. And I'm like, okay, no one really looking at me. Okay. Then I'm just here to be love with me. That's what I'm here to do. I'm just here to be love with me. I'm just here to be love. I'm going to be love. I'm going to enjoy being love. I'm going to enjoy love of God. I'm loved. I'm loved. I sit down. I'm loved. I wasn't really saying it out loud, though. And then all of a sudden I felt this energy. And I went, hey! Rev Kev, Unity Minister of Unity of Sacramento, that I had so bonded with at my time up there. Amazing person. If you know anyone in Sacramento, send them to Unity of Sacramento. And beside him, a woman I was supposed to meet named Kiana. And I said to her, we'll get to talking, and I said to her, what is your primary, ministry? Do you have a ministry? Because she'd been at the Parliament as well, and they were talking about it. Do you have a ministry, or do you have what is your primary focus for life? I didn't know what to say, right? I didn't want to make her like less than for not being a minister. We all have a ministry. Each ministry is to serve. How are you serving humanity? And she said, well, I'm a doula, and I'm an energy worker. I do private yoga sessions, and she listed off this amazing list of things. And then she said, and I do intuitive energy work, and she comes over, permission to touch you? I'm like, sure. And she starts touching my throat. Because we were talking about birth experiences, how important having a doula is for the mother and the baby to come into this life in peace. And I jokingly said, oh, well, I guess that was kind of rough that I had the umbilical cord around my throat then, huh? And all of a sudden, because this woman was such a vessel for divine love, I started to cry. I was like, I was just joking. Why is this the waterworks all of a sudden? I started to cry, and she comes over and she goes, yeah, that was traumatic, wasn't it? I'm like, I don't know. I was a baby. I don't remember. And she's rubbing my throat. It's okay. Just let it go. I'm like, really don't want to. I'm kind of in front of everybody at a gate here. At an airplane terminal gate. I really want to let it go right now. Feel the love. Feel the love. Just let that go. Just let that go. She starts talking. And then I guess you just close your eyes. I'm like, okay. Rev Kev's going. He's over there going, looking like he's going to be fine. Just right. Next thing you know, she's got her bowl out, medicine bowl, and she's ding. And I don't even care. I don't care that everybody at Gately A11 is looking at me. I'm certain of it, but I don't care. I'm like, this feels good. The tears are coming. All because I chose to be open and look for the connection. We're missing it all the time. We're missing the opportunity to press into each other all the time. We're rushing to get out of here even. Don't rush. Have a cup of coffee. Meet somebody. Learn about somebody. Hug somebody unless you're a shaker, and that's good too. Don't miss an opportunity to press in. This new thought teaching is a powerful way of shifting the world, but it's not the only way. We can't be so stuck in our way of thinking that we're like, oh, those poor people that haven't found new thought yet. I used to be one of those. And then, as one of the indigenous elders said this week, it's not really new. We've kind of been saying this for a while. Thanks for catching up. I know that's what they wanted to say. Or trying to catch up. And the beautiful Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith stood up and he said, you're absolutely right. That's why we say it's ancient wisdom, giving birth to a new perspective. An inspiration, inspiring a new perspective, which is a new thought, which is a new direction. This ancient wisdom of oneness, of connection. I will say, I do love the science of mind clarity. It works for me because it's my language. And probably you're here, so it's a lot of you, it's your language too. But let us press into those people that speak a different language. Let's let it be okay that their language is different. Three beautiful, I don't want to say, okay, I'm going to wrap it up with this. 3 beautiful Hindu teachers that I had the privilege of meeting and listening to. Oh my goodness, amazing people. And that would be Sadhvaji, Vedanta Shiva. I've had to practice this because their names are different than mine. And Swami Shivananda. And so Sadhvaji, oh man, what an incredible person. She says, I think it was her anyway, she said it was during that time, and she's the one that brought it back around, and she said, a group of astronauts were leaving orbit, and they looked back at the Earth and said, look at that, it's so beautiful. There's no lines of division, there's no borders, there's just one home. Isn't it beautiful? Just one. She said, don't you think God has as much insight as those astronauts? To not see us differently or treat us differently? Only we do that. But we can choose not to. We can choose to stop that. We can choose, as Bishop Yvette Flunder said, I make a choice when I see a white man. I make a choice not to objectify him and say, this person is so funny. You know how white men are. She said, I make a choice not to do that. She tells it. She tells it like it is. She was so inspiring and so open. We make choices every day to press in or push away. Swami Shivananda said, the most important thing for people to know is this, that they are the ones that need to change if they want to see change in the world. So, last but not least, the Parliament of World Religions was also by someone called the Parliament of Liberal Religions, as kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. Because there weren't the fundamentalists there, right? And so sometimes we have a tendency to want to compartmentalize them and say they're the ones that haven't gotten it yet. Or they're the ones that we just don't want to be around. We need to press into fundamentalists as well. Love them until they listen. Press in. Besides, how are they going to want to come to something if we're judging them? You can feel that, right? Open and press in. Stop judging others for judging. Let us realize that we're much more alike than we are different. Let us move from tolerating to embracing. Let us love until they listen. Press in until the otherness goes away. We realize there is no otherness. There is no other. There is only one. Let us realize the lines of division are the ones that we've made. That we all have the same home. And let us love and live for loving's sake. To be love. That is practicing the promise of inclusion. So it is.